Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode to my annual predicting the NFL playoffs for predictably terrible results. Don't do this now. Yeah, I can't remember how this video played out last year. I'd have to go back and check. But I think I predicted Chiefs-Niners for the Super Bowl. I just think... I can't remember if I picked the Niners in that game, but I think that was my Super Bowl. Anyway, we're going to do it again this year now that the playoffs is officially set. We're going to start with the AFC side on this bracket. So we get Chargers at the Texans. Now, here's the thing. The Texans have been playing absolutely horrible for like 2 months now. The Chargers, I don't think talent-wise are the most talented team in the playoffs. I think they might be one of the least talented teams that have made the dance this time around. But I do like Jim Harbaugh. I like Justin Herbert. If J.K. Dobbins is playing, I think he's a pretty damn good Mac. They've had some success. They just don't have a lot of receivers. But I just don't see the Texans winning this game. I don't really think it mattered who was playing the Texans in this game. It could have been the Steelers. It could have been the Patriots. And I think they honestly might have been able to beat the Texans. They are just a dead team walking. They're the most obvious one and done, I think, that we have this year. Now, me saying that if they win, then I guess I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. Then we get Steelers at the Ravens. Steelers haven't won a playoff game since 2016, I think was the stat. They've been one and done like 4 times since then. Every time they make the playoffs, they like have usually a pretty strong start and then they just fizzle out as the year goes. Russell Wilson is the type of quarterback that can win a couple games when they don't matter. But when they matter, when the chips are down, Russell Wilson at this point in his career just can't win them. I mean, you saw that last game against the Bengals. The only reason that the Bengals didn't get in was because the Broncos beat the Chiefs. But so for the Steelers, when they played that game, it was an entirely like, hey, if you beat the Bengals, you don't have to worry about them anymore. And they would have probably been the 5th seed and went to go play Houston instead, which is a much easier game. When you play against the Ravens, the only thing that I think is like maybe a question mark in this game is just the fact that the Ravens are semi-struggle against the Steelers. Lamar Jackson specifically has struggled against the Steelers, though he did finally beat them just a couple weeks ago. It was a cold game. I just don't think the Steelers have enough. We'll see what happens, but I think the Ravens should be able to take it. And then this last game I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on. The Broncos did a fantastic job of just making it to the playoffs for the first time since 2015, since their Super Bowl. Great for them. Love it. This is a building block season. They are much like the Chargers in terms of talent-wise on their roster. They don't got nothing. They got very, very little. I do like Bo Nix. I've said that right when they drafted him that I liked that pick. Especially when you pair him with Sean Payton. But their defense does play really well, and the Bills' defense isn't that good. So there's a chance this game is closer than people think it's going to be. However, I just don't see Josh Allen losing this game. I think Josh Allen is going to be really determined in these playoffs. I don't know if they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to be a hell of a hard team to beat. Then moving on the NFC side, I'm going to save this game for last. Bucks Commanders is the hardest game to pick, I think, in the entire playoffs, because I feel like that's a total toss-up. Washington, Tampa's defense is bad. We know that. We've known that for a long time. Washington's defense is up and down. They have good stretches. They have bad stretches. They have a rookie quarterback, Washington, who's been playing amazing, especially in the fourth quarter of games. And you got Baker Mayfield, who has been really, really good, except when he throws a lot of picks. They are missing Chris Godwin. They've been missing him for a while, but they got Mike Evans back. They're a little bit more rolling on offense now than they were a little bit before. I think this is truly literally a coin toss. And just because the game is in Tampa and Tampa's a little bit more experienced in the playoffs than Washington, I'm going to pick Tampa, though I would not be surprised if Washington wins this game, but I'm just going to err on the side of caution and go with Tampa. And then this bottom game here I think could be really interesting as well. The Packers seem to be kind of limping into the playoffs. Jordan Love has developed Tua Tagovailoa syndrome of being injured at all possible times. And then you have Christian Watson, who just tore his ACL in a Week 18 game against the Bears. They lost to the Bears. That's another thing. The Eagles, as long as Jalen Hurts plays, which is not necessarily a guarantee, he is still in concussion protocol. If Jalen Hurts plays, they are winning that game. I'm going to assume that he is playing. If you have to play Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee, the Packers might win that game. But at the moment, I'm going to err towards the Eagles. And then this last game here. We saw this earlier in the year. I actually was at this game in SoFi right after the Rams bye week. Or was it right before? I don't remember. But they were 2-4 going into that game, I think. And there was rumors swirling about Cooper Kupp being traded, about maybe Puka being traded, about maybe Kyren being traded, and the biggest one was Matthew Stafford, where the Vikings were like linked to him. I don't think that was ever going to actually happen, the Stafford one specifically, but I do think Kupp could have been gone. I do think that Kyren could have been gone, and they came out. They looked maybe the best they've looked on offense other than the Bills game all year. Their defense did enough, and they won that game. They beat the Bills, a true Super Bowl contender. But since then, they have been, much like the Texans, terrible. Since then, they've just been getting away with it. They played a really sloppy game in the rain in San Francisco that they won. And then they played a really sloppy Jets game that, again, they just happened to win. And then they barely beat the Cardinals in a really low-scoring game. The most their offense has done since the Buffalo Bills game was with fucking Jimmy Garoppolo against the Seahawks, and they still lost. I don't know what to make of this team. I really don't. I love Matthew Stafford. Anyone who's been on this channel before, I am rooting for him. I would love for him to get just one playoff win that's not in the Super Bowl year for his Hall of Fame case. But historically, teams that play each other in the regular season and then again in the playoffs, as long as it's not divisional opponents, usually the team that lost in the regular season plays better the second time around. The Vikings just got their ass kicked in prime time Sunday Night Football against the Lions. I think they're going to be really wanting to prove themselves in this game. I think Sam Darnold will want to prove himself in this game. If Darnold plays like he did against the Lions, the Rams might easily win this game. I just don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to pick the Vikings. Anyone who knows me in real life knows that I am a very pessimistic person when it comes to sports teams that I root for. And I just don't think that the Rams are in a position right now to win a game. Last year, when they started terrible and came back in and got to the playoffs, Stafford was playing some of his best football in his entire career. This time around, he has been ice cold since the Bills game. If he can turn it back on, if the offense can click, they can hang with anyone. But if the offense isn't clicking and you have to rely on the defense, I just do not trust them. So I'm picking the Vikings. I don't trust Sam Darnold either, but we'll see, I guess. Which then means the divisional matchups look like this. I'm going to go with the AFC, Baltimore and Buffalo. That would be a really, really fun game. I don't really know how to pick that one because if the Ravens run the damn ball, they can beat anyone. It's just they in big games, they tend to not run the ball and they tend to put everything on Lamar. And Lamar is a good quarterback, but he's not a guy, in my opinion, who will win a game on his arm alone. The Bills just don't have a defense. That's the biggest thing. If the Bills had even a modicum of defense, I would pick the Bills in this one. because I think Josh Allen is playing really well. But I hate to do this to you, Buffalo, but I think it's going to be another divisional round loss. I'm picking the Ravens. And this other game I don't think is going to be particularly close. Chargers, they typically tend to start games against the Chiefs very well. Even into halftime in like the last 4 years, they've been leading a lot of those games. But then the second half, they just fall apart. I don't think the Chargers are ready yet. I don't know if they'll ever be ready to beat the Chiefs. Chiefs are winning. And then on the other side, Bucs-Eagles. Another fun game. Again, it's just the fact that the Bucs just don't have a defense. Like, don't have enough of one, especially for Saquon Barkley. It's the Eagles. And then this game, Vikings-Lions, we just saw it play out. Lions have beat them both times this year. I'm going to pick Detroit. I don't think the Vikings, I just don't trust Sam Darnold. I think he's been pretty good in this regular season. I think that obviously his best year of his career. I just do not trust him when the chips are down to make a throw. And the chips are going to be down multiple times, and he's going to have to make a throw, and he just can't do it, I don't think. I mean, we saw it even in the game on Sunday night. He had Justin Jefferson open multiple times for touchdowns. He had Jordan Addison open twice for touchdowns, and he just did not see him at all. That would happen in this game, so the Lions are going to win, which then means the championship games are going to be a little bit boring, because this one we just saw last year. This one would be the more interesting one. I'm still picking the Chiefs. Until someone can beat the Chiefs when it matters consistently, not even consistently, but just like make plays when they matter consistently, I'm going to err with the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a powerhouse. I think they're going to three-peat. They are the only team in the AFC that has both the capability on offense and, crucially, a really good defense. Baltimore's defense earlier in the year was a disaster. They've gotten a little bit better, but also the Chiefs are getting their weapons back. They got Hollywood Brown back. They got, which means they can move Xavier Worthy back to what he was supposed to be doing. They got playoff Travis Kelce. They got playoff Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs are just a better team. Lamar will again lose the championship game. And then in this one, I think here's what I don't want. This is a nightmare scenario for me, by the way. I hate the Chiefs. I'm so sick of them. I would have way rather it be the Bills or the Ravens or the Chargers or the Broncos. Literally anyone other than the Chiefs. The NFC, I don't really care. I don't think it's going to be the Rams. Even if they do win the first game, they would then have to probably play in Detroit, and I don't see them winning that game. So it depends on how things shake out. But as much as I trust Patrick Mahomes to make a play when it matters, I don't trust Jared Goff to do that. I think Goff is, again, solid quarterback. I think when everything is working right, I think when the defense is playing well, when he has a run game, they are a very tough team to beat, as evidenced by their 15-2 record. But when it's not going, when the run game isn't working, when the defense is allowing drives after drives after drives, and it comes down to Goff making one or two throws that, a top-tier quarterback would make, Goff has never shown the ability to do that since I've been watching him. I've not seen it. And the Eagles are such a good, again, if Jalen Hurts is playing, such a good team. Saquon is a phenomenal running back. A.J. Brown, when he's not bitching, is a great receiver. I could see the Lions winning this game. Don't get me wrong. I could see that, especially since it's in Detroit. It's for a Super Bowl appearance. The fact that it's in Detroit, actually, it might be the biggest point in their favor. But I just don't trust them. I think it's going to be the Eagles, which means the Super Bowl is a rematch of a couple years ago. Chiefs-Eagles. Andy Reid Bowl number 2. This game, I think, could go either way. I would love it. I would absolutely love it for the Eagles to get one. I like the Eagles. I think they're a good team. I love Saquon. Jalen Hurts, I think, is a fun player to watch. I don't think he's the best quarterback, but I think he's I mean, he played. I mean, let me pull up the Super Bowl they actually did play. Super Bowl 57. Let me pull up this the box score. Jalen Hurts, if I remember correctly, outplayed Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he did. 27 of 38 for 304 yards and a touchdown, and you add 70 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. If they would have won that game, he's MVP. It's just they didn't. Patrick Mahomes really didn't. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, yes. But he didn't play as well in that game as he has in some of the other Super Bowls. He played really well the Super Bowl last year against the Niners. I think the Eagles could win this game. That being said, I'm picking the Chiefs because, like I said, until someone can make plays to beat them, I'm going to just assume they are going to win. And they've mostly done that all year long. Chiefs have some magical bullshit, and it will happen again. And then the Chiefs, they're just bouncing back and forth between who they play in the Super Bowl. Because it's Niners, and then the one Tom Brady year, and then the Eagles, and then the Niners again, and now probably the Eagles. It'd be funny if the Bucks get there and they beat them with Baker Mayfield. That would be fucking hilarious. And then they'll beat the Eagles in the next year. I don't know. I'm just shit talking now. That won't happen. The Chiefs are gonna win the Super Bowl this year. That's my big scolding hot take. I know. Ooh, look, I'm getting feisty. I'm picking the fucking Chiefs. Fuck and the NFL.